केशवाय स्वाहा नारायणाय स्वाहा माधवाय स्वाहा श्री आसन महामंत्रस्य पृथिव्यामेर पृष्ठऋषि सुदनचंदः कूर्मो देवतासने विनियोगः पृथ्वीत्वयादृतालोका देवीत्वं विश्वरात्रित्वं च तार्यमां देवी पवित्रं शासनं कुरु योगासनान्मों वीरासनान्मों सनासनान्मों संयोगासनान्मों ओम ह्रीं आधारशक्तिकमलासनान्मों रक्तद्वासशक्तियुक्ताय द्विजनाथाय नमो भूमादेव्यै नमः ओम जगत्वनि मंत्रमाता हुं फट् स्वाहा आगमार्तन्तु देवानां गमनार्थं तन्दुरक्षसां कुरुकण्डारवं करोम्यादौ देवताज्ञानकारणं कण्ठानादं कृत्वा दीपदेवी महादेवी शुभं भवतु मे सदा यावत् पूजा समाप्तिर्स्यात् तावत् त्वं प्रज्वलसस्थिरा भवद्दीपदेव्यै नमः दीपलक्ष्म्यै नमः कलशस्य मुखे विष्णुकण्ठे रुद्रसमाश्रिता मूले दत्तस्थितो ब्रह्मा मध्ये मातृगणा स्मृताः कुक्षौ सागराः सर्वे सप्तद्वीपा वसुन्धरा ऋग्वेद सामवेदाप्यथर्वणः सखिता सर्वे कलशां समाश्रिताः आयान्तो व्यासपौर्णमी पूजार्थं दुर्दक्षकारका गंगे च यमुने चैव गोदावरी सरस्वती नर्मदा सिन्धु कावेरी जले अस्मिन् सन्निधिं कुरु अहम् ऐं ह्रीं ॐ ॐ ह्रौं 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 ऐं ऐं ॐ ॐ नमः ॐ ह्रीं ग्रां दत्तात्रेय हरे कृष्णोन्मत्तानन्ददायक दिगम्बरमुने बालविजाज्ञानसागर द्रां ह्रीं ॐ दत्तात्रेयाय नमः इति पूजा उपकरणानि द्रव्याणि आत्मानं शतं प्रोक्षय गणानान्त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्पदान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये परवरदः सर्वजनमे वशमानय स्वाहा ओम श्री ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं नमो भगवती महालक्ष्मी वरवरदे श्रीं भूदये स्वाहा श्री श्रीपत्यादि सिद्धलक्ष्मी समेत श्रीवल्लभ श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः हस्रैं हस्कलरीं सरसौ महापद्मवनान्दस्ते कारणानन्द स्वर्णविग्रहे सर्वभूतहिते मात एहि परमेश्वरा महागणपतिम् आवाहयामि पाशम् अंकुशम् मोदकम् एकदन्तम् अमृतकलशम् मूषकवाहनसहितम् आवाहयामि स्त्यागामि सम्पूजयामि नमः ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा इदमिदमासनं सुखासनं समर्पयामि ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा पादयोः पाद्यं समर्पयामि ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा हस्तयोर्घ्यं समर्पयामि। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं
ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरदसरदनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
कलशोदकेन मुखे आचमनीयं समर्पयामि। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं
क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरदसरदनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
स्नानं परिकल्पयामि। नमो व्रातपते नमो गणपते नमः प्रमदपते नमस्ते स्थिरम्बोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्नविनाशिने सुभद्राय श्रीवरदमूर्तये नमो नमः। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद
सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
पुनराचमनीयं समर्पयामि। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं
क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
वस्त्रयुग्मं समर्पयामि।
ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
यज्ञोपवीत आभरणानि समर्पयामि।
ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
दिव्यश्री चन्दनं समर्पयामि।
ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
गन्धस्योपरि हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमं समर्पयामि।
ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा।
पुष्पैः पूजयामि। ॐ सुमुखाय नमः।
ॐ एकदन्ताय नमः।
ॐ कपिलाय नमः।
ॐ गजकर्णकाय नमः।
ॐ लम्बोदराय नमः।
ॐ विकटाय नमः।
ॐ विघ्नराजाय नमः।
ॐ विनायकाय नमः।
ॐ धूमकेतवे नमः।
ॐ गणाध्यक्षाय नमः।
ॐ भालचन्द्राय नमः। ॐ वक्रतुण्डाय नमः।
ॐ शुल्पकर्णाय नमः।
ॐ हेरम्बाय नमः।
ॐ स्कन्दपूर्वजाय नमः।
ॐ सिद्धिविनायकस्वामिने नमः।
नानाविधपरिमलपत्रपुष्पाणि मन्त्रपुष्पाणि समर्पयामि।
ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। धूपम् आग्रापयामि। दूर्वशीदूर्वदूर्वन्दं दूर्वदं यो अस्मान् दूर्वदितं वयं वयं दूर्वाम। धूपमाग्रापयामि। श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। धूपानन्तरम् आचमनीयं समर्पयामि। वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ति प्रचोदयात्। श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। दीपं दर्शयामि। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। दीपानन्तरमाचमनीयं समर्पयामि। नमो भजं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे समय कामान् कामकामाख्यमख्यं कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो ददातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः आनन्दकर्पूरनीराजनदीपन्दर्शयामि दीपानन्दरमात्मनीयं समर्पयामि सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा महागणपति प्रसादं शिरसा गृह्णामि विघ्नेश्वरं यदा स्थानं प्रतिष्ठापयामि शुभे सोमन मुहूर्ते अद्य ब्रह्मणः द्वितीयपरार्धे श्वेतवराहकल्पे
वैवस्वतमन्वन्तरे अष्टाविंशतितमे कलियुगे प्रथमे पादे क्रौञ्चद्वीपे मेरोरुत्तरपार्श्वे शालिवाहनशकाब्दे अस्मिन् वर्तमाने व्यावहारिके प्रभाषष्टिसंवत्सराणां मध्ये
चान्द्रमानेन विन्ध्याचलमहापर्वते वायव्यदिग्बाहे समुद्रमध्ये अमेरिकानामखण्डे रष्टिर्नामक्षेत्रे जनसी महापुण्यनदीरे श्री राजराजेश्वरी अष्टबंधन प्रतिष्ठापन पुनरुद्धार कुंभाभिजय परिपूर्ण पीठमंत्रे सुपकृत नाम संवत्सरे दक्षिणायने ग्रीष्म ऋतौ मिथुन मासे शुक्लपक्षे पौर्णमास्यां तिथौ बुधवासरयुक्तायां पूर्वाषाढ़ नक्षत्रयुक्तायां वैधृत्ययोगायां भवकरणायां शुभयोग शुभकरण एवं गुणविशेषेण विशिष्टायामस्यां शुभतिथौ ममोपात्त समस्त दुर्दक्षद्वारा श्री परमेश्वर परमेश्वरी प्रीत्यर्थमस्माकं हरितगोत्रोद्भवस्य अभवर्णी नक्षत्रजातायां मेषरासौ जातस्य श्रीलश्री अमृतानन्दनाथ सरस्वती मम महाभट्टारक मम श्री गुरु धर्मपत्नी अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी अम्बा समेत कन्यारासौ जातस्य उत्तर फल्गुनी नक्षत्रजातायां सख कुटुंबानां मित्र कुटुंबानां मौद्गल्यगोत्रोद्भवस्य उत्तराषाढ़ नक्षत्रजातायां मकर रासौ जातस्य साक्षात् अखिलाण्डेश्वरी स्वरूपिणीं सरस्वती अम्बा नामधेयस्य पूर्ण अनुग्रह सिद्ध्यर्थं हरितगोत्रोद्भवस्य चैतन्यानन्दनाथ शर्मणः धर्मपत्नी ज्ञानाम्बिका समेत सखकुटुम्बस्य मित्रकुटुम्बस्य नानागोत्रोद्भवस्य नानानक्षत्रोद्भवस्य सर्वे भक्तजनानां सकुटुम्बस्य मित्रकुटुम्बस्य क्षेमधैर्य वीर्य विजय आयुः आरोग्य ऐश्वर्यानाम् अभिवृद्ध्यर्थं समस्तमङ्गलवाप्यर्थं समस्तदुरितोपशान्त्यर्थं श्रीविद्या महामन्त्र परिपूर्ण सिद्ध्यर्थं व्यास पौर्णमी महापुण्यकाले व्यासाचार्य पूजनं करिष्ये तदंगम कलश पूजनमद्य करिष्ये हंसशिवस्सोऽहं हंसः हसकफ्रें हसक्षमलवरयों हसौं सह क्षमलवरयीं सहौ स्वरूप निरूपण हेतवे स्वगुरवे अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी अम्बा समेत श्री अमृतानन्दनाथ श्री गुरु श्री पादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः प्राणशक्ति अम्बा राजराजेश्वरी परापट्टारिका जगित महामंडलेश्वर श्रीलश्री सुप्रकाशानंदनाथ हंसवधूतीर्थ परमगुरु श्री पादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः सहस्राक्षी अम्बा राजराजेश्वरी परापट्टारिका जगित महामंडलेश्वर श्रीलश्री कल्याणानंद तीर्थ परमेष्टि गुरु श्री पादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः श्री दक्षिणामूर्ति समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरां सकनौ भवतु सकनौ पुनक्तु सकवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 ओम सं नो मित्रः सं वरुणः सं नो भवत्वर्यमा सन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः सं नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सं नो मित्रः सं वरुणः सं नो भवत्वर्यमा सं न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः सं नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो द्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मावादिशं ऋतमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मामावीत् तत्वत्तारमावीत् आविर्माम् आविर्वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः तच्चं योरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपदये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तुनः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगादुपेशजं तं नो अस्तु द्विपदे चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ कुलाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये ममोपात्तसमस्तदुर्दक्षद्वारा श्रीपरमेश्वर परमेश्वरी प्रीत्यर्थमादौ व्यासपूर्णं व्यासपूजनं करिष्ये अभ्रश्यामबिङ्गजडाबद्धकलाप प्रां सूर्दण्डी कृष्णामृत द्वक्परिधानः सर्वान् लोकान् भावयमान कविमुख्य पराशरस्य पर्वस्वरूपं विवरणेद् व्यासं वसिष्ठनब्धारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्पशं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुखदातं तपोनिधिं कृष्णद्वैभवाय व्यासं सर्वभूतहिते रतं वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे समाधिनिलयं मुनिम् अस्मिन् स्वर्णपादुके व्यासाचार्यान् ध्यायामि व्यास आचार्यान् स्थापयामि सम्पूजयामि नमः आवाहिता भवत् संस्थापिता भवत् सन्निधापिता भवत् सन्निधि भवत् सम्मुखी भव अवकुण्ठिता भवत् सुप्रीता भवत् सुप्रीता भवत् सुप्रसन्ना भवत् सुमुखा भवत् वरदा भवत् प्रसीद प्रसीद देवा सर्वजगन्नाथा यावत् पूजावचानकं तावत् त्वं प्रीतिभावेन स्वर्णपादुके हृदयकमले नगरे देशे प्रपञ्चे सन्निधिं कुरु ॐ श्री व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः इदमिदमासनं सुखासनं समर्पयामि ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः स्वागतं व्याहरयामि
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः पादयोः पाद्यं समर्पयामि
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
पादयोः पाद्यं समर्पयामि ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः हस्तयोरर्घ्यं समर्पयामि
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः कलशोदकेन मुखे आचमनीयं समर्पयामि
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः मधुर्वर्गं समर्पयामि।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः। स्नपयामि अथ पंचामृत स्नानं समर्पयामि। ॐ आपोहिष्ठामयो भुवस्थानमूर्जे ददातन महेरणाय चक्षसे यो वशिवतमो नसः तस्य वाजे देहनः सदीर्घमादरः तस्मारङ्गमामवो यस्य क्षयाय जन्मत आपो जनेदार्जन शुद्धोदक स्नानं समर्पयामि। अमृतंगल रुका है ले लिया। आप्यायस्व समेतुते विश्वतः सोमवृषियं भवावाजस्य संगते क्षीरेण स्नपयामि। ॐ दतिक्रावर्णो अकारिषं जिष्णोरस्वस्य वाजिनः सुरभिनो मुखाकरति प्रणायुगं शितारिसत् ददना स्नपयामि। ॐ शुक्रमसि ज्योतिरसि तेजोसि देवो वत्सविदत् पुनः त्वच्चित्रेण पवित्रेण वसो सूर्यस्य रश्मिभिः आज्येन स्नपयामि। ॐ मधुवादारुदायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्न सन्तोषधिः मधुनक्तम् उतोषधि मधुमुत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमानो वनस्पतिर्मधुमाविन्मस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः मधुना स्नपयामि। ॐ स्वादुर्भवस्य दिव्याय जन्मने स्वादुरिन्द्राय सुखवीतु नाम्ने स्वादुर्मित्राय वरुणाय वायवे बृहस्पतये मधुमागमदभ्यः शर्करया स्नपयामि। ॐ या फलीर्या फलाः या पुष्पायाश्च पुष्पिणीः बृहस्पतिर्प्रतिष्ठास्थानो मुञ्चस्तवकं मदकत्परोदकेन स्नपयामि। ॐ तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महासेनाय धीमहि तन्नो सुब्रह्मण्य प्रचोदयात्। सुब्रह्मण्यों 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 गन्धोदकेन स्नपयामि। ॐ हंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंस प्रचोदयात्। पुनः शुद्धोदक स्नानं समर्पयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः। वस्त्रयुग्मं समर्पयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः। यज्ञोपवीतं धारयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः। दिव्यपरिमलगन्धान् धारयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः। गन्धस्योपरि हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमं समर्पयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः। अक्षतान् समर्पयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः। अष्टोत्तर सदनाम अर्चनं समर्पयामि। ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं नारायण कुलोद्भूताय नमः। ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं नारायण पराय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ॐ वराय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं नारायण अवताराय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ॐ नारायण वसंवदाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं स्वयंभुवं सम्भूताय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं वसिष्ठकुलदीपकाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं शक्तिपौत्राय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं पापहन्त्रे नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं परमरसुदाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं अमलाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं वैवायनाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं मातृभक्ताय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं शिष्टाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सत्यवती सुदाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं स्वयमुद्भूतवेदाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं चतुर्वेद विभाकृते नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं महाभारतकर्त्रे नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ब्रह्मसूत्र प्रजापतये नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं अष्टादश पुराणान् कर्त्रे नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्यामाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं शिष्यकाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सुगदाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं गजटाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं रामशवे नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं दण्डिने नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं मृगाजिनाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं वस्यवासे नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ज्ञानात्रये नमः। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं शङ्करायुप्रदाय नमः। ॐ ऐं
ह्रीं श्रीं
सुषये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मातृवाक्यप्रकाराय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मातृवाक्यकराय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
धर्मिणे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
कर्मिणे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
तत्त्वाराधदर्शकाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सत्यज्ञादात्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
प्रतिसंयुक्तोपदेशकाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वधर्म उपदेष्ट्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मृतदर्शनपण्डिताय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विचक्षणाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
प्रकृष्टात्मने नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
पर्वपूज्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
प्रभवे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मुनये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वीराय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विश्रुतविज्ञाताय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
प्राज्ञाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अज्ञाननाशनाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ब्राह्मकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
पात्मकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वीराय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विष्णुकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शिवकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
श्रीभागवतकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
भविष्यरसनादाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
नारदाख्यकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मार्कण्डेयकराय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अग्निकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ब्रह्मवैवर्तकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
लिङ्गकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वराहकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्कान्दकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वामनकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
कूर्मकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मत्स्यकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
करुडाकस्य कर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ब्रह्माण्डाख्यपुराणकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
उपपुराणां कर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
पुराणाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
काशीवासिने नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ब्रह्मनिधये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
गीतादात्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
महामदये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वज्ञाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वसिद्धये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वशास्त्रप्रवर्तकाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वाश्रयाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वहिताय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वस्मै नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सर्वगुणाश्रयाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विशुद्धाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शुद्धिकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
दक्षाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विष्णुभक्ताय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शिवार्चकाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
देवी भक्ताय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्कन्दऋषये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
गणेशात्रुते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
योगविदे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
कैलासार्चाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वृषकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शाकल्यार्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
यक्षुषाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
जैमिन्यार्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं
सामकर्त्रे नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सुमध्वार्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अध्रुवकृते नमः अधर्वकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
रोमहर्षणसुधार्च्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
लोकार्च्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
महामुनये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
व्यासकान् श्रीहृदये नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विश्वपूज्याय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
विश्वेशपूजकाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शान्ताय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शान्ताकृते नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शान्तसिद्धाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शान्तिप्रदाय नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ॐ श्री व्यास आचार्येभ्यो नमः नानाविधपरिमलपत्रपुष्पाणि समर्पयामि ॐ महाराजाय नमः। हंसहंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंसः प्रचोदयात्। शान्तिवासाय विद्महे शान्तस्वरूपाय धीमहि तन्नो श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्रः प्रचोदयात्। दीपानन्दम् आचमनीयं समर्पयामि। व्यासाचार्येभ्यो नमः। आत्मप्रदक्षिणनमस्कारान् समर्पयामि।
Sri GuruPoornima. Namaskaram, everybody. Uh, we, we welcome everyone who has had the blessed opportunity to be here for this Vyasa Purnima or Guru Purnima today. So with the conclusion of the puja, Aya just performed puja to Vyasa, and we are going to continue embarking on another set of puja. So the set of events that will take place now is we will prepare to perform puja to the Padakas again. For the last 45 days, devotees have undertaken mandala sadhana, performing to the kalasam that is installed inside the sanctum. And so today is the 45th day. While we do puja to the Padukas, on Snanam, one of the 16 upacharams, we will bring the kalasam here, do abhishekam to the Padukas, and perform the rest of the puja. So the mandala sadhana that many devotees have taken this year has been performing tarpanam with the 108 names, the Ashtota Sadanamavalis of Guruji. Sri Amritanandanada Saraswati are many of our beloved Paramaguru. And so those who have registered and who are interested in sitting, we have the station set up, and you can perform puja to Padukas if you have brought them, the coins if you have been doing the puja to the coins, or if you don't have that, we do also have some items that you're able to, either a picture or a paduka that you can also perform puja. So those who, firstly, those who have registered, and those who are interested in doing puja, we can, in an orderly manner, have a seat in the stations, and volunteers will help you in preparing for the puja as you follow along. So during the pushpam upachara, the flower offerings, we're going to be doing this tarpanam of Guruji's Ashtota Sadanamavalis, and then we will follow it with dupam, deepam. After deepam, we will also perform, because Sri Rajarajeswari Devi was founded by Ayya, our beloved Ayya, we will also be doing the Ashtota Sadanamavali for Sri Chaitanyananda and Sri Jnanamba. So Ayya's and Amma's Ashtotaram will be happening after the Deepam, and then we'll finish the Shodasupachara Puja, after which Ayya will take the opportunity to share his GuruPoornima message to all of us, and we will share some updates. So there's still quite a bit left in the evening. So if I can ask each and every one of you to, if you are registered and you're interested in doing puja, some volunteers will direct you and you can have a seat in these stations. Otherwise, please feel free to have a seat where you are and bask in the festivities for the rest of the day. Namaskaram. So I guess at this time, anybody who registered or is interested, maximum, because of space constraints, we do ask per family just to have maximum of 2 people. And we will, in an orderly manner, you may come up and sit. Yeah. If you're interested, do it. Namaskaram. This is at this time, last call. If anybody is interested in performing puja or tatpanam during the puja sequence, please make your way to any of the stations. Again, this is a great opportunity if you're interested. And again, if we can have people moving to the open slots in the front, that would be greatly appreciated.
ईश्वरो गुरुनात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवर्त्यांतदेहाय श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। मौनव्याख्या प्रकृतपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्टान्ते वसदृशगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा राममुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमाराध त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्याः गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्नसंशया निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। न गुरोरधिकं मोक्षं न गुरोरधिकदैवतं न गुरो यदहं नास्मि तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्तिरसत्करः ज्ञानदानपरायणः मेरुराग्निपदाश्रितः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Are we all settled, Ayya? Is all done? Om शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। प्रज्ञानां ब्रह्मयमात्मा ब्रह्मतत्त्वमस्यहं ब्रह्मास्मि। ओं हंसशिवः सोऽहं हंसः हसकफ्रेमदक्षमलवरयूमसौं साक्षमलवरयीं सह स्वरूपनिरूपणहेतवे स्वगुरवे श्रीमज्ञानां विकासमेत श्रीचैतन्यानन्दनाथ श्रीगुरुश्रीपादुकां पूजयामि दर्पयामि नमः। ओम अस्य श्री आसन महामन्त्रस्य पृथिव्याः मेरो पृष्ठऋषिः सुदलं छन्द कूर्मो देवता आसने विनियोगः। पृथ्वी त्वया धृता लोका देवी त्वं विष्णुना धृता पञ्चधारय मां देवी पवित्रं च आसनं कुरु। ओं योगासनाय नमः ओं वीरासनाय नमः ओं शरासनाय नमः ओं संयोगासनाय नमः ओं ह्रीं माताशक्तिकमलासनाय नमः रक्तद्वादशक्तियुक्ता दीपनाथाय नमः भूमादेव्यै नमः। जगद्धनिमन्त्रमाता ओं फट् स्वाहा। हे घंटे सुस्वरे पीठे घंटाध्वनि विभूषिते वादयन्ति परानन्दे घंटादेवीं प्रपूजयेत्। आगमात्तन्तदेवानां निर्गमात्तन्तराक्षसां करोम्यादौ घंटारवं देवतात्मानकारणमिति घंटानादं कृत्वा। दीपदेवी महादेवी शुभं मे सदा यावत् पूजा समाप्ति स्यात् तावत् त्वं प्रचरसुस्थिरा भव। दीपदेव्यै नमः दीपलक्ष्म्यै नमः। Give me a red flower. कलशस्य मुखे विष्णुः कंठे रुद्रसमाश्रितः मूले तत्त्वस्थितो ब्रह्मा मध्ये मातृगणाः स्मृताः। कुक्षौदसागराः सर्वे सप्तद्वीपा वसुन्धरा ऋग्वेद यजुर्वेदः सामवेदाप्यथर्वणः अङ्गैः सहिताः सर्वे कलशाम्बुसमाश्रिताः। आयान्तु व्यासपूर्णिमाशुभकाले गुरुपूजार्थं दुर्दक्षयकारक गंगे यमुने चैव गोदावरी सरस्वती नर्मदा सिन्धु कावेरी जले अस्मिन् सन्निधिं कुरु। अम आम इम ईम उम ऊम रुम रुम लुम लुम एम ऐम ओम औम अम हम ओम ह्रीं ग्रां दत्तात्रेय हरे कृष्ण उन्मत्तानन्ददायक दिगम्बरमणे बालबीजाज्ञानसागर द्रां ह्रीं ओम दत्तात्रेयाय नमः। क एईल ह्रीं सकल ह्रीं सकल ह्रीं पूजोपकरण द्रव्याणि आत्मानं च सम्प्रोक्षय। प्रणवात्मा परब्रह्म देवी गायत्री छंद परमात्मा देवता प्राणायामे विनियोगः। मुपत्त समस्त दुर्दक्षय द्वारा श्री परमेश्वर परमेश्वरी प्रीत्यर्थम आदौ विघ्नेश्वर पूजांच करिष्ये. Now I hope most of you are already familiar with the sequence, so we will be performing Ganapati. Purvangam is done till now, then we will be performing Ganapati Puja. After that we will be starting the Guru Puja, and right after Ganapati Puja we will be doing the Sankalpa. Om Shiva. Om Gananagam Tva Ganapatigam Vamahe Kavim Kavinamumashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmadan Brahmanaspada Anashranvannu Devhetsidhasadanam. Om Shri Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Namo Bhagavati Mahalakshmi Varavarade Shri Vibhudaye Swaha. Shri Shri Patyaji Siddhalakshmi Sameda Shri Vallabha Shri Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Hasraim Haskalarim Hasrasoho Mahapadmavanantastam Gambhija Samshobhitam Arunamatatmajam Vande Ekyehi Ganadhipa Pasha Ankusham Ekadantancha Modakam Amrutadharakam Mujigam Etan Mudraha Lalitam Supradishtidan Mooladhadasthitam Shipram Vratapatim Varasiddhidam Mahaganapatim Herambam Namo Nirvignakarakam Mahaganapatim Avahayami Styayami Sampujayami Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Idamidamasana Sukhasanam Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Padayo Padyam Padyam Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Stayor Argyamargyam Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Kalshodage Namukhe Ajamanyam Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Snanam Parikalpayami. Namo Vratapataye Namo Ganapataye Namah Pramadapataye Namaste Astu Lambodaraye Ekadantaya Vignanashine Jyotataye Shri Varadamurtaye Namo Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namah Punarajumanam Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namah. Vastrani Parikalpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Yagno Vida Nana Vidha Abharanani Parikalpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Divya Parimala Gandhan Dharayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Gandhasyopari Haridra Kumkumani Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Pushpaihi Pujayami. Om Sumukhaye Namaha. Om Ekadantaye Namaha. Om Kapilaya Namaha. Om Gajakarnakaye Namaha. Om Lambodaraye Namaha. Om Vigataye Namaha. Om Vignarajaye Namaha. Om Vinayakaye Namaha. Om Dhumagedave Namaha. Om Ganadhyakshaye Namaha. Om Palachandraye Namaha. Om Gajananaye Namaha. Om Vakratundaye Namaha. Om Jurpagadnaye Namaha. Om Hirambaye Namaha. Om Skandapurvajaye Namaha. Om Siddhivinayaka Swamine Namaha. Nana Vidha Parimala Patra Pushpani Mantra Pushpani Samarpayami. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sattvajanam Me Vashamani Swaha. Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Umagrapayami. विघ्नध्वांत निवारण एककरणि विघ्नाटवी हव्यवाद विघ्नव्यालकुल प्रमत्तगरुडो विघ्नेव पंचाननः विघ्नोत्तुङ्गगिरिप्रभेदनकरी विघ्नाब्धिकुम्भोद्भवः विघ्नौघौघ गणप्रचण्डपवनो विघ्नेश्वरः पातु नः महागणाधिपतये नमः ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वसमानि स्वाहा महागणाधिपतये नमः दीपं दर्शयामि श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं श्री रत्ने श्री विद्या जासूर गजे क्षुतार्मुकरुजा चक्राब्ज पाशोत्पला विद्यग्रस्तमिषारत्नकलश प्रोज्यत्कराम्भोरुहा ध्येयो वल्लभया स्वपद्मकरया श्लिष्टोज्ज्वलद्भूषया विश्वोत्पत्तिविपत्तिसंस्तुतिकरो विघ्नेश इष्टार्थदः महागणाधिपतये नमः ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वसमानि स्वाहा महागणाधिपतये नमः अमृतमहानैवेद्यं निवेदयामि भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् परोरर्धे सावतो मापो ज्योतिरसामृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवस्वरों स्वादत्येन परिचिन्त्यामि देवसन्तस्वामृतमस्तु अमृत उपस्तरणम् अस्ति ॐ प्राणाय स्वाहा ॐ अपानाय स्वाहा ॐ ज्ञानाय स्वाहा ॐ उदानाय स्वाहा ॐ समानाय स्वाहा ॐ ब्रह्मणे स्वाहा मध्ये मध्ये अमृतपानीयं समर्पयामि अमृतापितानं सुप्रापोषणं समर्पयामि स्वादत्येन परिचिन्तयामि हस्तौ प्रक्षालयामि पादौ प्रक्षालयामि कण्डूचम् आचमन्यं समर्पयामि नमः ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वसमानि स्वाहा महागणाधिपतये नमः भूगीफलसमायुक्तं नागवल्लीदलयुक्तं कर्पूरचूर्णसंयुक्तं ताम्बूलं प्रतिगृह्यतां कर्पूरचूर्णताम्बूलं समर्पयामि ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरदसर्वजनं मे वसमानि स्वाहा महागणाधिपतये नमः नीराजनं निवेदयामि सर्वविघ्नहरं देवं सर्वविघ्नवर्जितं सर्वसिद्धिप्रदातारं वन्देऽहं गणनायकं महागणाधिपतये नमः नीराजनं निवेदयामि नीराजनानन्तरम् आचमन्यं समर्पयामि Now we'll be starting off the Sankalpam. Sarva Vignaharam Devam, Sarva Vignavarjinam, Sarva Siddhi Pradataram Vandeham Gananayakam, Mahaganapati Prasadam, Shirasa Grinhami, Mahaganapatim Yadhasthanam Radhishtapayami. Okay, just one small piece of note. Each one of you will not have the same kind of paraphernalia that I have here. So, some of the upacharams, or probably a significant number of upacharams, you may not be able to perform the way I do it. So, wherever you are not in a position to perform the upacharams, you are going to do it manasikam, internal, okay? And you are sure, you know what you will not be able to perform, right? Something like your pushpam, offering pushpam and things like that. When it comes to Naivedyam, yes, you have got the grapes, you can offer the grapes and then take it from there. And regarding the protocol of the puja itself, we will be performing 16 upacharams to Guru. Okay, we will be using the small version of Guru Paduka as the base mantra. Hamsa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. Okay, with that mantra, we will be offering each upacharam. And then when it comes to Pushpa Puja, until that, it just goes in a very normal Shodashopachara Puja, typical Shodashopachara Puja. When it comes to the Pushpa Puja, we are going to perform Tarpanam for Guruji using Guruji's Ashtotra Namavali. Okay? Then, after Dhupam and Deepam, okay, we will be performing the Archana using Ayya's Ashtotra Namavali. Then after that, we'll be offering Naivedyam. Okay? And just before Abhishekam starts, some designated people will go and get the kalasham that we have installed for the last mandalam. Okay? We'll be using that water to perform Abhishekam to Guru Padukas. Okay? Gaurama. Okay, thank you. शुभे शोभनमुहूर्ते अद्य ब्रह्मणः द्वितीयपरार्धे श्वेतवराहकल्पे वैवस्वतमन्वन्तरे अष्टाविंशतितमे कलियुगे प्रथमे पादे क्रौञ्चद्वीपे मेरोरुत्तरपार्श्वे शालिवाहनशकाब्दे अस्मिन् वर्तमाने व्यावहारिके प्रभवादिषष्टिसंवत्सराणां मध्ये चान्द्रमानेन विन्ध्याचलमहापर्वतवायुदिग्भागे समुद्रमध्ये अमेरिकानामखण्डे रष्टिर्नामक्षेत्रे जनसीमहापुण्यनदीतीरे श्रीराजराजेश्वरी अष्टबन्धनप्रतिष्ठापितपरिपूर्णमहाकुम्भाभिषेकोद्धारितपुण्यपीठमन्त्रे शुभकृतनामसंवत्सरे दक्षिणायने ग्रीष्मऋतौ मिथुनमासे शुक्लपक्षे पौर्णमास्यां तिथौ बुधवासरयुक्तायां पूर्वाषाढनक्षत्रयुक्तायां वैधृतियोगायां भवकर्णायां एवं गुणविशेषेण विशिष्टायाम् अस्यां शुभतिथौ मम उपात्त समस्तदुरिदक्षयद्वारा श्री परमेश्वर परमेश्वरी प्रीत्यर्थम् अस्माकं हरितसगोत्रोद्भवस्य अनुराधा नक्षत्रजातस्य श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथशर्मणः धर्मपत्नी हस्तानक्षत्रजातायां ज्ञानाम्बिकानां यः साकुटुम्बानां मित्रकुटुम्बानां शिष्यप्रशिष्यकुटुम्बानां हरितसगोत्रोद्भवस्य फलादिनीयम्बासमेत अमृतानन्दनाथ सरस्वतीनां यः साकुटुम्बानां मित्रकुटुम्बानां शिष्यप्रशिष्यकुटुम्बानां मौद्गल्यसगोत्रोद्भवायां साक्षात् अखिलाण्डेश्वरी स्वरूपिणीं सरस्वतीयम्बानां यः सहकुटुम्बस्य मित्रकुटुम्बस्य नानागोत्रोद्भवस्य नानानक्षत्रोद्भवस्य सर्वे भक्तजनानां सहकुटुम्बानां मित्रकुटुम्बानां क्षेमस्थैर्यवीर्यविजय आयुरारोग्य ऐश्वर्याणामभिवृद्ध्यर्थं समस्तसन्मङ्गलावाप्त्यर्थं समस्तदुरितोपशान्त्यर्थम् इष्टकाम्यार्थसिद्ध्यर्थं धर्मार्थकाममोक्ष शतविधफलपुरुषार्थसिद्ध्यर्थं साम्बदा शिवसमेत सकलावर्णदेवतासमेत श्रीमद्ललिता महात्रिपुरसुन्दरी पराभट्टारिका देवता परिपूर्ण अनुग्रह कटाक्षसिद्ध्यर्थं समस्त गुरुमण्डल परिपूर्ण कृपा कटाक्षसिद्ध्यर्थं स्थलकल्याणार्थं देशकल्याणार्थं लोककल्याणार्थं पौर्णमास्यां तिथौ सायं समये श्री गुरुपादुका पूजाञ्च करिष्ये न गुरोर्धिकं मोक्षं न गुरोर्धिकदैवतं न गुरो यदहं नास्मि तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानशक्तिलसत्करः ज्ञानदानपरायणः मेरुराग्निपदाश्रितः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानाम्बिकाय विद्महे चैतन्यानन्द धीमहि तन्नो गुरुर्प्रचोदयात् ओके ध्यानम् ॐ ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा ॐ नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं मेधां प्रज्ञां संयच्छ स्वाहा प्रज्ञानां ब्रह्म अयम् आत्मा ब्रह्म तत्त्वमसि अहं ब्रह्मास्मि ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः हसगफ्रें हसक्षमलवरयूं हसौं सहक्षमलवरयीं सह हस्रैं हस्कलरीं हस्रसौः प्रज्ञानां ब्रह्म अयम् आत्मा ब्रह्म तत्त्वमसि अहं ब्रह्मास्मि ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः हसगफ्रें हसक्षमलवरयूमसौं सहक्षमलवरयीं सह हस्रैं हस्कलरीं हस्रसौः महापद्मवनान्तस्थं मातृचैतन्यरूपिणं श्वेतारुणपदं वन्दे एह्येहि गुरोत्तमा मम श्रीगुरुं पत्नीसमेतं सकलगुरुदेवता परम्परासमेतं गुरुपादुकारूपेण मम निकट आवाहयामि ध्यायामि सम्पूजयामि नमः जपोजल्पश्यल्पं सकलमपि मुद्राविरचना गतिः प्रादक्षिण्यक्रमणमशनाज्याहुतिविधिः प्रणामस्संवेशः सुखमखिलमात्मार्पणदृशा सपर्यापर्यायस्तव भवतु यन्मे विलसितं श्रीगुरुम् आवाहयामि आवाहिता भव संस्थापिता भव सन्निधापिता भव सन्निधि भव सम्मुखी भव अवकुण्ठिता भव सुप्रीता भव सुप्रसन्ना भव सुमुखा भव वरदा भव प्रसीद 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 देवा गुरोत्तमा तावत्त्वं प्रीतिभावेन पादुकेऽस्मिन् मम सर्वबाह्यान्तराळेऽस्मिन् स्थिर आवासं कुरु ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः इदमिदमासनं सुखासनं समर्पयामि ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः पादयोः पाद्यं समर्पयामि ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हस्तयोः अर्घ्यमर्घ्यं समर्पयामि ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ऐं सौः ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं आत्मतत्त्वाय स्वाहा क ह्रीमसकहलहरीं सकलहरीं विद्यातत्त्वाय स्वाहा सौः ऐं क्लीं ह्रीं श्रीं शिवतत्त्वाय स्वाहा श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ऐं सौः ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं क ह्रीमसकहलहरीं सकलहरीं सौः ऐं क्लीं ह्रीं श्रीं सर्वतत्त्वेभ्यः स्वाहा ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः पञ्चामृतमन्त्रस्नानं समर्पयामि ॐ आपोहिष्टामयो भवस्तानभूज्ये ददातना महेरणाय जक्षसे यो वैश्वदमो रसः तस्य भाजयते हनः भुजतीरिव मातरः तस्मा अरङ्गमामभो यस्य क्षयाय जिन्वथ आपो जनयथा जन शुद्धोदकस्नानं समर्पयामि ओके ॐ भैया गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढः तत्त्वमालाविभूषितः मुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मन्नाथ श्रीजगन्नाथ मद्गुरु श्रीजगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ विश्वं दर्पणविश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तद्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया भैरिवो भूतं यथा निद्रया यत्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्मरणं सदात्मकमसत्कर्मात्मकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्यास्मितान् यत्साक्षात् करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्पतिवाकरेन्दुसुदृशो माया समाच्छादनाद तन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतो योगो सुसुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्तं च प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये शिवा नानाचिद्रत्वोदरस्थितमहाजीप्रभाभास्वरं ज्ञानं यस्य दुचक्षुराजकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीतमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत्समस्तं जगद् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्तदिवाकरेन्दुसुदृशो मायासमाच्छादनाद तन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतो योगो सुसुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्तमिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बाल्यादित्यपि जागदादिहा सर्वा स्ववस्थास्वपि यावृत्तास्त्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तः स्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो भद्रया मित्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामि सम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पुत्रपुत्राद्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जागृतिवाय एष पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपितलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः श्रीबालान्धजडोपमा स्वामिभ्रान्ताभृशं वाजिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहाव्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्भास्य नलो निलोम्बरमहर्नाथो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकं नान्यज्जन विद्यते मृषतान् यस्मात् परस्मात् विभो तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये प्रज्ञाना ब्रह्म अयम् आत्मा ब्रह्म तत्त्वमसि अहं ब्रह्मास्मि। अमृतीकरण अखंडैकरसानंदकरे परसुधात्मनि स्वच्छन्दस्फुरणामत्संगेहि कुलनायिके अकुलस्थामृताकारे शुद्धज्ञानकरे परे अमृतत्वं देहि अस्मिन् वस्तुनि क्लिन्नरूपिणी ऐं वद वद वाग्वादिनी ऐं क्लीं क्लिन्ने क्लेदिनि क्लेदे महाक्षोभं गुरु गुरु क्लीं सौं सौः महालक्ष्मीश्वरी परमस्वामिनी ऊर्ध्वशून्यप्रवाहिनी सोमसूर्याग्निभक्षिणी परमाकाशवासुरे आगच्छ आगच्छ विष विषपात्रं प्रतिगृह्ण प्रतिगृह्ण हुं फट् स्वाहा पुण्यं जुहोमि स्वाहा पापं जुहोमि स्वाहा कृत्यं जुहोमि स्वाहा कृत्यं जुहोमि स्वाहा संकल्पं जुहोमि स्वाहा विकल्पं जुहोमि स्वाहा धर्मं जुहोमि स्वाहा धर्मं जुहोमि स्वाहा कएईलहरीं सकलहरीं सकलहरीं धर्मं जुहोमि वौषटे इतः पूर्व प्राणबुद्धिदेह धर्माधिकारतः जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्त्यावस्थासु मनसा वाचा कर्मणा हस्ताभ्यां पद्भ्यां द्रेण जिष्ण्या योन्यां यत्स्मृतं यदुक्तं यत्कृतं तत्सर्वं ब्रह्मार्पणं भवतु स्वाहा। आर्द्रं ज्वलति ज्योतिरहमस्मि ज्योतिर्ज्वलति ब्रह्माहमस्मि यो अहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि आमेवाहं मां जुहोमि स्वाहा। ॐ ह्रीं ज्रौं झुं सः अमृते अमृतोद्भवे अमृतेश्वरी अमृतवर्षिणी अमृतं श्रावय श्रावय स्वाहा। ॐ ह्रीं ज्रौं झुं सः अमृते अमृतोद्भवे अमृतेश्वरी अमृतवर्षिणी अमृतं श्रावय श्रावय स्वाहा। ॐ ह्रीं ज्रौं झुं सः अमृते अमृतोद्भवे अमृतेश्वरी अमृतवर्षिणी अमृतं श्रावय श्रावय स्वाहा। सद्यो जातं प्रपद्यामि सद्यो जाताय वै नमो नमः। भवे भवेनाति भवे भवस्वमां भवोद्भवाय नमः। क्षीरस्नानं समर्पयामि। ॐ वामदेवाय नमो ज्येष्ठाय नमः श्रेष्ठाय नमो रुद्राय नमः कालाय नमः कलविकरणाय नमो बलविकरणाय नमो बलाय नमः बलप्रमथनाय नमः सर्वभूतदमनाय नमो मनोन्मनाय नमः। दध्ना स्नपयामि। ॐ अघोरेभ्यो दघोरेभ्यो घोरघोरतरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वसर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः। आज्यस्नानं समर्पयामि। ॐ तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्रः प्रचोदयात्। मधुस्नानं समर्पयामि। ॐ ईशानः सर्वविद्यानाम् ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपतिर्ब्रह्मणोऽधिपतिर्ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदाशिवो। शर्करया स्नपयामि। ॐ तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महासेनाय धीमहि तन्नो सुब्रह्मण्यः प्रचोदयात्। सुब्रह्मण्यं 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 फलोदकेन स्नपयामि। ॐ हंस हंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंसः प्रचोदयात्। अथ गन्धोदकस्नानं समर्पयामि। Yellow rose. Jnanam Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma Tatsamasi Ham Brahmasmi. Hamsa Shivasoham Hamsa Hasakasrema Chamanavaryum Saum Sahachamanavariyim Saho. Om हंस शिवस्सोहं हंसः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। स्नानानन्तरम् आचमन्यं समर्पयामि। ॐ हंस शिवस्सोहं हंसः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। वस्त्राणि परिकल्पयामि। Go slow. Whole thing. Jnanam Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahmadattamasi Aham Brahmasmi. Kalyana Prakasha Amrutohasnavitam Rohatayam Dhanodbhamahottum Gatarangam Hamsaloka Pankajam Chatatpranavasasakam Pranavavarnabhasuram Sadgurum Namamyaham Khandatta Yarupinam Vaindavi Upatyakam Dakshinasya Muktinam Matruchetanam Shivam Hamsaloka Pankajam Chaturpranavasagakam Pranavavarnabhasuram Sadgurum Namamyaham. प्रापञ्चिकमिति देहं त्वच्चिन्तनमिति प्राणं धूपोपमद्भावं स्वीकुरु गुरुसत्तमा ॐ हंस शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः वस्त्राणि परिकल्पयामि कृतकालिकानुग्रहमहाकवचरक्षितम् अरुणमातृकरुणामृत कटाक्षाच्छादिनं हंसलोकपङ्कजं चतुर्प्रणवसाधकं प्रणववर्णभासुरं सद्गुरुं नमाम्यहम् गुरुपादुकमन्त्राक्तं परमपावनं शुभं श्वेतारुणपादकमल रजोतेजशोभितं हंसलोकपङ्कजं चतुर्प्रणवसाधकं प्रणववर्णभासुरं सद्गुरुं नमाम्यहम् श्रीचक्रोपासकं बिन्दुतर्पणप्रियं विशेषार्घ्यामृत पुनः पानमानसं हंसलोकपङ्कजं चतुर्प्रणवसाधकं प्रणववर्णभासुरं सद्गुरुं नमाम्यहम् न मन्त्रं च नो यन्त्रं न जानामि तन्त्रविधिं मनःसरोरुहकुलं च स्वीकुरु गुरोत्तमा हंसलोकपङ्कजं चतुर्प्रणवसाधकं प्रणववर्णभासुरं गुरुं नमाम्यहम् वस्त्राणि परिकल्पयामि ॐ हंस शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः यज्ञोपवीतानि नानाविध आभरणानि परिकल्पयामि नवमणिमकुटं चन्द्रशकलं सीमन्तसिन्धूरं तिलकरत्नं कालाञ्जनं पाळियुगलं मणिकुण्डलयुगलं नासाभरणम् अधरयावकं प्रथमभूषणं महापदकं पदकं कनकचिन्ताकं मुक्तावलिम् एकावलिं चन्नवीरं केयूरयुगलचतुष्टयं वलयावलिम् ऊर्मिकावलिं काञ्चीदामकटिसूत्रं सौभाग्यद्रव्याभरणं पादकटकं रत्ननूपुरं पादाङ्गुलीयकं ह्रीं आं एककरे पाशं क्रों क्रोमन्यकरे अङ्कुशं थं धं मित्रकरे पुण्ड्रेक्षुजापं द्रां द्रीं क्लीं ग्लूं सः अपरकरे पञ्चपुष्पबाणान् परिकल्पयामि नमः श्रीमन्माणिक्यपादिके परिकल्पयामि नमः सकलावर्णदेवतासमेतमहाचक्राधिरोहणं परिकल्पयामि नमः शिवकामेश्वराङ्कपर्यङ्कोपवेशनं परिकल्पयामि नमः अमृतचषकं समर्पयामि नमः आचमनीयं परिकल्पयामि नमः द्रां द्रीं क्लीं ग्लूं सः क्रों रजकफ्रें हसौः ऐं हस्रैं हस्कलरीं हस्रसौः दशमुद्रान् प्रदर्शयामि ॐ हंसः शिवः सोऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः दिव्यपरिमलगन्धान् धारयामि गन्धस्योपरि हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमानि समर्पयामि सुगन्धाधिलेपनोपचारं हृदि भावयेत् विद्रुमारुणराग फालाक्षं पूजयेत् हंसलोकपङ्कजं चतुर्प्रणवसाधकं प्रणववर्णभासुरं सद्गुरुं नमाम्यहम् Om Om Hamsa Shivasoham Hamsaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Pushpaihi Pujayami. Tarpanam for Guruji. We'll start off Tarpanams. Now, as planned earlier, during this session, we are going to perform Tarpanam to Guru using Guruji's stotras Namavali.
Yasya Shri Amritananda Ashtotara Shatanama Stotra Mahamantrasya Chaitanyamrita Shodasha Nitya Rishaye Namaha Shirasi Devi Gayatri Chandase Namaha Mukhe Shri Annapurnamba Sameda Amritananda Parabhattarika Devataya Namaha Hridaye Shrimad Vagbhavakudeti Bijam Shakti Kudeti Shaktihi Kamaraja Kudeti Kilakam Aim Lim Sauhu Shri Amritananda Paripurna Kadaksha Siddhyarte Jape Tarpane Viniyogaha Aim Angushtabhyam Namaha Klim Darjanibhyam Namaha Sauhu Madhyamabhyam Namaha Aim Anamikabhyam Namaha Klim Kanishtikabhyam Namaha Sauhu Kardalakar Prishtabhyam Namaha Aim Hridayaya Namaha Klim Shirase Swaha Sauhu Shikhayai Vashat Aim Kavachaya Hum Klim Netratrayaya Vaushat Sauhu Astraya Phat Bhuhu Bhuvaha Suvaha Om Vididikbandaha Dhyanam Mandrakshaраmayim Chandrasekharadayal Gunaswarupinim Bijapurna Shodasha Nityamritavardinim Sarvajana Sammohinim Sakala Vidyalankarinim Sahajananda Shambhavim Shankara Gurumurtinim Ekagrachit Vilasinim Dakshinamurti Swarupinim Sarva Sammohana Sukhavachaka Pradayinim Bhagavatim Avyaja Karuna Kadakshim Purna Bija Rupa Shodasha Nivasinim Annapurnamruteshwarim Om Aim Hrim Shrim Karuna Kadaksha Shivamurtaye Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Kanarasika Kameshwara Sundareshwaraya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Mantraswara Purita Pankajaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Sahasrare Lalitanubhavaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Hindu Vedana Shivananda Munishreshthaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Sri Devi Pura Shiva Mandira Sthapakaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Nitya Swarupananda Jivita Kaivalyaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Nirvikalpananda Sagara Hamsaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Shirshya Lakshana Shri Gurumurtaye Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Agnya Kamale Nitya Drutta Amrutanandaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Drishti Matre Sahajananda Varadaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Sri Vidya Paripurna Shobhidaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Bharatakande Meru Mandra Kartaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Svalmali Dvipe Vidya Pita Sapakaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Avadhuta Swaprakasha Vatsalaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Avadhuta Guru Mandala Lakshanaya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Shri Annapurna Mano Madhuraya Tarpayami Namaha
Om Aim Hrim Shri
Shri Prahlada Purva Shramanamaya Tarpayami नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
विज्ञान विद्या परिशोधककारणाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
नवावर्ण महायज्ञहंसाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
हंस मंत्रार्थ मुनिसेव्याय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
सहस्रारि पादुकाक्षर कोटि सूर्याय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अखिलांड कोटि चैतन्य व्यापिन्ये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
भक्ताभीष्ट भोग मोक्ष प्रवर्तिन्ये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
चक्रराजे ह्लादिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिन्ये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शारदा तिलक विद्या मन्त्रमालाये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
नित्य षोडश कला वर्ण रूपाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
नित्योत्सव मेरु मंत्र गृहवासाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
तंत्र शास्त्र व्याख्यान विद्पन्नाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
चैतन्यानंद मनोमंत्र चक्रेश्वर्ये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शिष्य कोटि भक्त वत्सल पुरुषार्थाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अणुशक्ति विज्ञान शास्त्र विद्पन्नाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
कामाख्यापीठ मंत्रालय वैभवाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
भक्त जन सौभाग्य महासंकल्पाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री सुधा लक्ष्मी संपूर्ण अनुग्रहाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शुक्रवारे श्रीपीठ प्रसन्नाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शिवशक्त्यैक्य विद्यार्णव कारणाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री सुधा अनुभव पूर्व संकल्पाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
मंत्र रूप सुधा संकल्प स्थिति कर्ताय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री कामेश्वर कामेश्वरी ऐक्य विद्या ऋषये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री कामेश्वर स्वरूप प्रत्यक्ष आचार्याय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री शंकर रूप गुरु प्रकाश श्री मूर्तये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
इष्टमात्रे शारदाम्बिका प्रसन्नाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री शारदाम्बा परिपूर्ण विद्यालंकाराय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
कच्छपीनादामृतलय स्थिताय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
मन्दस्मित मुखाम्भोज करुणाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
पाल्ये श्री कृष्णावतार वृक्ष दर्शनाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
कर्पूर वीणिका मोद प्रियाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
तुर्यातीतावस्था विवर्जिताय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शांत स्वरूप श्री मूर्तये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
सुलभ वाचक द्वैताय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
लय ज्ञानामृत सागराय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अमृतानंद अमृत स्वरूपिणे तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
नैमिषारण्य ऋषि रूप गुरुस्वामिने तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
दिगंबर देशिक भक्त वत्सलाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री गायत्री हृदय अरुणाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अनाद्यन्त स्वयं प्रकाश विमर्शनाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
विशुद्धि चक्रे षोडश नित्य शोभिताय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अनाहत मंत्रे प्रेम चैतन्यामृताय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
मणिपूरके रक्तवर्ण श्रीमूर्तये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
स्वादिष्ठाने श्री सुधामृतधारिण्ये तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
मूलाधारे गजवदन सुगन्धाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
भ्रूमध्ये कल्याण सुन्दर प्रकाशाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अर्धचन्द्रे सकल कला प्रकाशाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
रोदिनी पीठे ज्योतिर्लिंग शिवशक्त्यै तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
व्यापिक निलये सर्वराग प्रवीणाय तर्पयामि नमः
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
उन्मनि निलये निःशब्द श्री स्वर ईश्वराय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
समानालये सिद्ध चैतन्यानुभवाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शक्तिपीठे श्री शारदा तिलकोज्ज्वलाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शाम्भवी मुद्राभिलाष नित्यवासाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
सहस्रारे मेरु प्रदक्षिण हंसाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
उत्तराम्नाये जगत्सृष्टि महायोन्ये तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अनुत्तराम्नाये सकलावस्था परिपालकाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
ऊर्ध्वाम्नाये सकल जीव मातृदेव्ये तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
पूर्वाम्नाये पूर्वकर्म विनाशनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
समस्त चक्र भक्ताभीष्टवरदाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
प्रकटाभरणे कला विद्या समनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
गुप्त निलये अष्टैश्वर्य कल्पतरवे तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
गुप्ततर चतुर्दश लोकज्ञाय आदित्याय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
संप्रदाय गुरु परंपरा पूजिताय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
कुलोत्तीर्णावर्ण शक्ति लोक व्यापिकाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
गर्भकोण अंतर्मुख आत्मानंदाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
रहस्यार्थ सहस्र मंत्रार्थ लक्ष्याय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अधिरहस्य श्री विद्याचार बोधकाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
परापरादिरहस्य निलय निश्चिन्ताय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
नवावर्ण महायज्ञ पौरुषाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
सप्तर्षि तारक मंडल तिलकाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
कलिकाले वीरकारण उद्भवाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शंख चक्र हरि नित्य वरदाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
चतुर्वेद महावाक्य अनुग्रहाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
फल पुरुषार्थ शिष्य कोटि विग्रहाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
सप्तशति सुधाहुति तत्पराय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री देवी महायज्ञ मंडलेश्वराय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
आदिकाल यजुर्यज्ञ ज्ञान दृष्टे तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री देवी पुरस्वयं पीठ स्थापकाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
देवी पीठे चतुर्लिंग स्थापनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
कामपीठे भक्तजन अन्नप्रसादाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह प्रकाश पौत्राय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
मेधा नाडी सिद्ध्यावक यौवनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
सप्तवर्षे श्रीरामचन्द्र दर्शनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
वाग्मात्रे ब्रह्मक्रन्ति वेदनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
ध्वनिमात्रे विष्णुक्रन्ति वेदनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
इच्छामात्रे रुद्रग्रन्थि शमनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शारदा वरद वेद वृषभ दर्शनाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
शारदा मासे परा गायत्री उपदेशाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
दक्षिणामूर्ति अंश मौन मुनये तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
अनाद्यन्त ईश महाब्रह्मवेशाय तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्री
परिपूर्ण अमृतानंद गुरुमूर्तये तर्पयामि नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।
ॐ हंस शिवस्सोऽहं हंसः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। धूपम् आघ्रापयामि। गुरो गुरुनाथ भेद विभागिने ब्रह्मत्यांतदेहाय श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढः तत्त्वमालाविभूषितः मुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ हंस शिवस्योऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। सागरं पाण्डुरङ्गं सुरहस्तं कृपानिधिं सर्वभोगहरं वन्दे दत्तात्रेय नमोऽस्तुते। भाषुन्धुमध्यवास कान्तिकिरणदर्पणम् दुर्भरभवकाननान्धकारणाकारणं हंसलोकपङ्कजं चतुष्प्रणवसाधकं प्रणववर्णभाकुरं सद्गुरुं नमाम्यहम्। शिवस्योऽहं हंसः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Now we will be doing Ashtottaram to the Guru Padaka. Gold and silver flowers.
अस्य श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथ अष्टोत्तरशतनाम महामन्त्रस्य आत्मानन्दाय ऋषये नमः। शिरसि अव्यक्तगायत्री छन्दसे नमः। मुखवृत्ते श्री ज्ञानाम्बिका समेत श्रील श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथ देवताय हृदये मम श्री गुरु परंपरा परिपूर्ण कटाक्ष सिद्ध्यर्थे अर्चने विनियोगः। ध्यानम् शिवरूपं श्वेतवस्त्रभूषानुलेपिनं मन्दस्मितमुखाम्भोजं ज्ञानाम्बायुतवामाङ्गं चिन्मुद्राङ्कितकरं मधुरपूर्वभाषिणं श्रीराजराजेश्वरी पीठाधीश्वरं कृपानिधिं श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथं सानन्दं चिन्तये सुधीः। शान्तरूपां रक्तवस्त्राभरणभूषितां दर्शिताम् श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथ हृदि पद्मे संस्थिताम् अन्नप्रदाननिरतां करुणामयीं श्री ज्ञानाम्बा सदा चिन्तये हृदि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथाख्य गुरवे ते नमो नमः। श्रीलङ्कापुरी उद्यज्योतिषे ते नमो नमः। श्री कमलाम्बाह्लादनकारणाय ते नमो नमः। श्री नवरत्नवर्यपुत्राय ते नमो नमः। श्री विजयहरनामाङ्किताय ते नमो नमः। पितृवंशकृत श्री चक्राधनोद्धारणतत्पराय ते नमो नमः। दर्शित माता श्री शिव सच्चिदानन्द कृपा कटाक्ष सिद्धिदाय ते नमो नमः। लब्ध श्री जडाक्षर महामन्त्र दीक्षिताय ते नमो नमः। बाह्ये श्री सुब्रह्मण्य दर्शिताय ते नमो नमः। कार्तिकेय ग्रामे सिद्धमाता दर्शिताय ते नमो नमः। श्री सत्यसायीश वत्सलाय ते नमो नमः। श्री ज्ञानाम्बा नयनोल्लास विश्रान्त मानसाय ते नमो नमः। श्री चारुमति प्रिय पित्रे ते नमो नमः। श्री जनकाह्वयजा माता नमस्कृत पादाय ते नमो नमः। विशाखानगरे श्री देवी पूजन प्रचारकाय ते नमो नमः। प्रति शुक्रवारे रहस्य नाम सहस्र पठनाय ते नमो नमः। शाल्मली द्वीपे गुरुमूर्ति दर्शिताय ते नमो नमः। श्री अमृतानन्दनाथ प्रभम दीक्ष पुत्राय ते नमो नमः। श्री अन्नपूर्णाम्बा परिपूर्ण कटाक्ष सिद्धिदाय ते नमो नमः। श्री स्वप्रकाशानन्दनाथ हंस अवधूत तीर्थ श्रीपाद सेविताय नमो नमः। भद्रकाली पीठ स्थापक श्री कल्याणनाथ भारती तीर्थनुताय ते नमो नमः। श्री राजराजेश्वरानन्दनाथ पादकमलार्चिताय ते नमो नमः। श्री घनश्यामानन्दनाथ अनुग्रहीताय ते नमो नमः। जगद्गुरु श्री कादम्बरी बाबा स्मरण प्रियाय ते नमो नमः। दत्तात्रेय संप्रदाय प्रवर्त तुरंदराय ते नमो नमः। क्रौंच द्वीपे श्री राजराजेश्वरी पीठ स्थापिताय ते नमो नमः। जलसी तटराजस्तरनगर विहारिणे ते नमो नमः। आगम शुल्क शास्त्र पंडिताय ते नमो नमः। सदा रचित मुद्रा हस्ताय ते नमो नमः। श्री चक्र पूजनासक्त मनसाय ते नमो नमः। गंध पुष्प धूप दीप नैवेद्य संतुष्टाय ते नमो नमः। सुवासिनी पूजादि संतुष्टाय ते नमो नमः। सायिक महापूजा प्रीत चित्ताय ते नमो नमः। नवरात्रि पूजने सुधा देव्या पूर्णाभिषिक्ताय ते नमो नमः। महाषोडशी ध्यान निमग्नाय ते नमो नमः। परिपूर्णमैरुप्रस्तारे श्री ललिताध्यात्रे ते नमो नमः। श्री प्राणशक्त्यम्बा स्थापिताय ते नमो नमः। श्री सुधा देव्या कल्पित शंकरेका हस्ताय ते नमो नमः। श्री यज्ञफल स्तोत्र प्रदाय ते नमो नमः। महताराधन श्री चक्र पूजा कल्पकृताय ते नमो नमः। श्री भारती रूप मातंगी मनुदर्शिताय ते नमो नमः। साधकानुग्रह देवी पीठ प्रतिष्ठापकाय ते नमो नमः।
ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अष्टोत्तरशतपीठस्थापकव्रतये ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
श्रीविद्यासाधनप्रेरकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
महावाक्योपदेष्टे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
आत्मतत्त्वबोधकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
भक्तवत्सलाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्मितमधुरपूर्वभाषिणे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
करुणानिधये ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सदानवरूपाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्वतन्त्राय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
भव्यानां भव्यरूपिणे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ज्ञानिनां ज्ञानरूपिणे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शक्तिचालनमुद्रोद्धारितगणेशमूर्तये ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अनाहताब्जनिलयलक्ष्मीनारायणदर्शिताय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अनाद्यन्तस्वयंभूत श्रीशिवशक्त्यैकस्वरूपचिन्तामग्नाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
काञ्चीकाकोटिलीलाधिष्ठातर्शनप्रियाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
कामाक्षि नामजल्पभृङ्गाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ध्यानध्यातृध्येयैक अनुभवाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मन्त्रतन्त्रयन्त्रविज्ञात्रे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शुभ्रमार्गप्रदाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
ईक्षणवृत्तिरसिकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्वरूपनिश्चयज्ञानहेतवे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
भावनादार्ढ्यविज्ञाननिरूपाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
परादिवैखरी शब्दनादरूपाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्वात्मपञ्जरसंलीन तेजसे ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
त्रिकालज्ञानदिव्यदृष्टियुताय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अज्ञाननिबिडद्वान्तभास्कराय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शृङ्गाररसपरिपूर्णाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सदा मुदितवदनाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
स्वानुभूतिसुविज्ञानतपार्थाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अतिप्रेमप्रदर्शकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
दानधर्मप्रियाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शान्तमूर्तये ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
अद्भुतचरित्राय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
कपटवर्जिताय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
औदार्यशीलाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
भक्तिश्रद्धाध्यानगम्याय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मातृभक्त्यैकनिष्ठाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मातृवात्सल्यभूमाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सदाचारप्रवर्धनाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
जातिमतभेदभञ्जनाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
भक्तचित्ताम्भोजसूर्याय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सकलसंशयहराय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
श्रितभक्तमनोभीष्टपूरकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
योगिवृन्दाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शिष्यचित्तागनाशाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
दयार्द्रदृष्टियुताय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
शिष्यसन्तापहराय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
कानलोलुपाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
सङ्गीतरसिकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
गम्भीरनादाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
द्राविडवेदगायकाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वाद्यनिपुणाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
चारुमतीरागरसामृतप्रवीणाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
नादनन्दनाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
वचनप्रियाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
श्रुतिलयनिमग्नाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
खण्डत्रयमहाविद्यास्वरूपाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं
मूलाधारस्थिताम्भोजगणनाथाय ते नमो नमः।
ॐ ऐं ह्रीं
स्वादिष्ठान महापद्म ब्रह्मरूपाय ते नमो नमः मणिपूराख्य कमल विष्णुरूपाय ते नमो नमः अनाहताब्ज मध्य शिवरूपाय ते नमो नमः विशुद्धाम्बुज निलय जीवाकृताय ते नमो नमः आज्ञापङ्गेरुहलसतात्मरूपाय ते नमो नमः सहस्रारस्थिताम्बोज मध्यगाय ते नमो नमः अहदादिहलक्षान्तपीडगाय ते नमो नमः त्रिकोणपीडमध्यस्थचित्प्रकाशाय ते नमो नमः चैतन्यानन्दनाथ सद्गुरवे ते नमो नमः श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथ सद्गुरवे ते नमो नमः श्री चैतन्यानन्दनाथ सद्गुरवे ते नमो नमः
ओम हंस शिवस्सोहम हंसः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः अमृत महानैवेद्यं निवेदयामि शिवस्सोहं सः कपूरचूर्णताम्बूलं समर्पयामि भास्चनलो नीलोम्बरमहर्नाथो हिमांशुष्कुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् नान्यत्किञ्चन विद्यते विमृशतान् यस्मात् परस्माद् विभो तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये मध्यवाच शान्तिकिरणदर्शनम् उद्धरभवकाननान्धकारनाशकारणम् विश्वमातृकेशान्तबहुलविश्वदर्शिनम् उपशिष्यकोटि अल्पौपचारानन्दितम् अन्तलोकपङ्कजम् चतुर्प्रणवसाधकम् प्रणववर्णभासुरम् सद्गुरुं नमाम्यहम् ॐ हंस शिवसोऽहं हंसः अजगत्प्रेमरक्षमलवरयूं सौं साक्षमलवरयीं सौः तस्मै नमस्करवीं नमस्करौः खण्डत्रयमहाविद्यास्वरूपाय ते नमो नमः आत्मप्रदक्ष नमस्कारान् परिकल्पयामि मंगलरात्रि Okay. Now with the remaining water in your panchapatrams, Om Gaurama. Akkada. Yasya smrutya cha namotya tapo puja kriyajushu nyunam sampurnatam yati sadhyo vande tamachyutam mantrahinam kriyahinam buddhihinam gurottama yat krutantu maya deva paripurnam tadastu me anena yavachakti dhyana vahanadi shodasha upachara pujena bhagavan sarvatmakah tatsarvam Shri Guru Charanaravindarpanamastu Gurupadukarpanamastu Brahmarpanamastu Lalita Mahatripura Sundari Charanaravindarpanamastu Hari Om. यानिका निज पापानि जन्मान्तर्गतानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपदे पदे पापोऽहं पापकर्माणां पापात्मा पापसम्भवः त्राहि मां कृपया देव शरणागतवत्सला अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष गुरोत्तमा. Shiva. Here, let it be full. Panchapatram తీసుకుంటా. हिरण्यगर्भगर्भस्थं हेमबीजं विभावसोः अनन्तपुण्यफलदम् अतः शान्तिं प्रयच्छ मे. श्रीराम राम राम गोविन्द 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण. श्रीमहादेव्यै नमः. श्रीमहादेवाय नमः. श्रीमद्महात्रिपुरसुन्दर्यै नमः. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हर हर नमः पार्वतीपतये. हर हर महादेव.
Sri GuruPoornima.
That's okay, you're fine.
This concludes the puja portion of today's GuruPoornima festival. We want to kindly ask that everyone remain seated. We have a few announcements that we'd like to make. As you know, this year's focus for Guru Mandala Sadhana, as well as today's puja, was Guruji's Stotram. And Devi Puram has released a video which we'd like everyone to view today. So if you can kindly turn towards the screen here, we'd like to play a video. Or here.
For sure, I am with you all the time, because the Guru is the gateway to God. I am trying to fulfill that role, and I am the seer in you, the power of God which makes you see the world as yourself. So I can never be separated from you. I am your existence, I am your consciousness, I am your happiness. I always want you to remain happy. You make a commitment to happiness and you're happy no matter what the world says. So may God bless you, and may God bless you, and may God bless you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
We'd like to kindly ask Ayya and Amma to say a few words.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. If all of you can make in that section a turn towards the television. It's okay to show your backside to the Guru. Anyway, what I have to tell you today is in the form of an appeal. Many of you know, if you don't know already, I come from Sri Lanka, a home that I left 52 years ago. But I have kept in touch with the people in the towns, villages, various parts of the country. And I have been deeply aware, like many people who have gone through the educational system in Ceylon, what it used to be called. Then came the name Sri Lanka. The ancient name was Lanka, and the Arabs called it Taprobane. Some others called it Serendip. But whatever it is, in 1505, the Portuguese came in and destroyed all the Buddhist and Hindu temples and thrust Catholicism into the population. Now, Sri Lanka, there's a central highlands, and there is a wet zone, which is roughly a quarter of the island, beginning just above Negombo, a few miles north of Colombo, and then ending up somewhere near Galle and Matale. The rest of it, 3/4 of the island, which is 250 miles long and 140 miles wide, is mostly what is called dry zone jungle. Now, 90% of the population in the north and east used to be the Tamils. And the rest of it, everybody was there, that was fine. India attained her independence on the 15th of August 1947. And the British did not really have an interest in hanging on to this tiny island of 25,000 square miles, which arguably produced some of the best flavored teas in the world. And the railway network that they built was to bring those products to the port of Colombo, so that it can be shipped out. It was not, as they claimed later, that it was for development purposes. Every fiber in the British, the Danes, and the Portuguese that came before them, they looted the country, just like they did in India. And right from the beginning, the northerners and the easterners knew the value of education, because Jaffna and the northern province received a yearly rainfall of 75 inches, which extended from somewhere in September all the way down to December, and we got our rain from the northeast monsoon. So the children studied hard. And there were two universities at the beginning. In the beginning, one was Peradeniya, nestled in the hill country, and one in the capital, Colombo. And medical faculties, engineering faculties, science faculties, whole classes from the north would walk into the university because they simply excelled in studies. And right from the day, 1948, February 4th, when we got our independence, the majority community sought to deprive the Tamils of these privileges, what they thought was privileges, but this was earned. And they slowly moved to change the legislatures, the laws in the country. In 1956, the late S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike, Solomon West Ridgeway Dice Bandaranaike, who was born a Catholic, embraced Buddhism just for political purposes. This Oxford-educated so-called Prime Minister came to power saying that he would make the majority language Sinhala the official language. The Tamils were about 18% of the population. We were not a small minority, remember that, for them to push us into the ocean. And the Sinhalese diaspora was always terrified that there would be a repeat of the 10th century subjugation by the Tamils, by the Chola king, Rajarajeswari, and his immediate relatives, his son. They conquered most of the island and built Shiva temples everywhere. But long before, from the time of Ravana, there have been 5 Ishvarams. If a temple ends with the name Ishvaram, you know that it is a Shiva temple. And they slowly began the program of erasing the cultural identity of the Tamils. Some of us who were being educated both in the Sinhala and Tamil media and English media, we realized what they were doing. The history books were rewritten for the Sinhalese. So the Sinhalese stream had a different history of the island, and the Tamils had a different history of the island. The Sinhalese, rewritten Sinhalese history books claim that Buddha visited the island. He never came to Sri Lanka. And the poor guy, if he was alive today, he would hang himself for what they are doing. Anyway, this is just a brief background of where we are. Unable to bear, we first followed the Gandhian principle of peaceful, non-violent, non-cooperation. And all the Tamils had to show for it after 5 years, 6 years of struggle was broken heads and brutality. 1956, there were communal riots. 1958, when I was about 15 years old, there were communal riots. And I was a victim. I lived in a refugee camp for more than 3 or 4 months. And then finally, a British merchant ship, SS Magdapa, we couldn't live in the Sinhalese areas anymore because you would be targeted. we went around the island and arrived in the northern province in Jaffna, Point Pedro. From there, we were taken to a village called Vattakotte, where I entered Jaffna College. And the library there provided me enough information to find out what was going on. And then, because so many large numbers of Tamils were gaining entrance into the university and doing engineering and medicine, the government passed a new law. Sri Lanka has 9 provinces. They said from each province, so many people will be taken. The net result was, if you scored 60% in one of the southern provinces, you will enter university. In Jaffna and Batticaloa and the eastern province, if you scored 98%, you still might not get anything. So this was naked discrimination. Unable to bear this, the youth revolted and they placed the army inside the northern province and shot at random. If you resisted, you were taken and you disappeared. The earliest was 2 brothers, 2 young men by the name of Inbam and Selvam. They were picked up in broad daylight by an army jeep and they disappeared. When the parents went to the army camp, they were told, we never picked them up. We don't know where they are. And 4 days later, we found their bodies brutally tortured, skin peeled, fingernails pulled out, the entire body burnt with cigarette butts. We left the bodies as they were and took photographs. Two 35mm rolls were used. One, quickly the army realized what was happening. They confiscated one. The other one was given to a 65-year-old woman who put the film roll in her blouse and took it to Colombo. And from Colombo, an Air India pilot brought it to Mumbai, and a Zambia Airways pilot, who had already been alerted, picked up the film roll and brought it to Lusaka. I used to work in the Ministry of Power, Transport and Works as a deputy architect and a handicapped architect. That means for handicapped schools, I used to build buildings. And I had access to photographic development. So we developed the one roll, 35 shots. And I managed to get 250 copies of each photograph and diligently wrote letters to all the embassies in the United Nations and sent them copies. 5 of them surfaced in the Nairobi embassy of Sri Lanka, 5 of those letters. And up to today, I cannot go back to my home country, because my name is kept in the airport, and I have been declared a PI, that means prohibited immigrant. Now, this is just one story of one person who has had a minor thing. Many people have lost their sisters, their brothers, their fathers, their uncles, families. There's not one family that is not affected or touched by this. And the youth revolted. They said, if you shoot, we'll shoot back. The moment you shot back, you were called a terrorist. And they never expected that the Tamils would rise up to such levels. They were almost losing. And very strange, the rest of the world, including Gandhi's own country, turned their backs and gave them and poured arms into that country. 18 countries, some of them mortal enemies, Pakistan, India, Malaysia, all these people, they can't stand each other, but they came and gave trillions of dollars worth of arms to Sri Lanka. And India sent troops, which has never been acknowledged. There were 6,000 troops at one time without parliamentary approval. So all of them, some of them, majority of them, their families are being still paid. Out of the 6,000, 2,500 are buried in Sri Lanka in the war. Now, why am I telling all this? The war produced, as usual, war widows, war orphans, people without limbs. And in the northern province, if we can get it on the screen, Vimalan, there's an area called the Vanni, Vanni, that portion that you see in red. About 15 years ago, what is his name? Pradipan? Dharma Raja Pradipan started an organization called Vanni Pattarai. The sole idea was to help poor people, both in the province, but this is only a small area. And we got involved with them in 2020. And a few dedicated people have been spreading the word, and it has been voluntary effort. Somebody gives $2, somebody will give $20, another person will give $200, another person will give $1,000, like that. And they have been sending it to Vanni, and they have joined up with this Vanni Pattare. Food and dry rations are being delivered to this place in Vanni. Why Vanni, you may ask? It is the place where most of the war orphans and war widows are living. If you look at videos of them now, this is some of the supplies that are given. With whatever money that we have, it cannot be given all the time. But today, my appeal to you is, because of the almost parched conditions in Sri Lanka, there is no government. The president has fled after bilking the country of nearly $4 billion. Him and his family of 14 people, all in high places in the government, have stolen the money from the people. This has belonged to foreign aid, United Nations aid, whatever that came, they have pocketed it. And this president would not leave until the protesters broke into his official residence. He bolted. He first flew out on a military aircraft to Malé, that is in the Maldives Islands. And when he knew that there was trouble brewing there too, he has now flown to Singapore. From there, he is going to Dubai. We don't know where he'll end up. Fellow has a green card in this country. If he ever shows up here, he might be arrested. Anyway, the country is without a head. And whatever money that you would send in official channels, please listen to this carefully. If you go to a bank and send the money to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, they are desperately short of dollars. They'll take the money. And you have no idea what they will do with it. The country's military has bloated to over 250,000 soldiers. And most of them are stationed in the north and east. So much so, there's one fully armed soldier, armed to the teeth with a semi-automatic rifle and all the rest of the things. For every 5 citizens, there is one fully armed soldier in the north and east. The rest of the country you go, you hardly see them. In the north, they are everywhere. So they know that something, if they have refused to give the Tamils anything, although we are 18% of the country, no equal rights. If they want, they can walk into your house in the middle of the night and take you away, and you will never be seen again. On the last day alone, because of a Catholic bishop who was in Manar, he had good influence and he had people on the ground. The government said, surrender, we will take care of it. So a huge portion of the population, 142,000 people, one day gave their names and addresses to priests who were collecting it and sent it to Manad, to this bishop, and they went and surrendered to the army. We have no idea where they are. They have been killed, maybe. We don't know. And the government has refused adamantly to provide the whereabouts of these people. What they didn't bargain for was that the bishop had the names and addresses and the descriptions of all those people who went and surrendered. And that has been given to the United Nations, which is a toothless organization. It will shake its head to powerful nations like the United States and the USSR and China. We have nothing. And the war that took place for over 30 years, not one incident has been reported in the international press because the Sri Lankan government imposed a total blackout of news. Nobody was allowed to go there. And they shot and killed and raped and pillaged and did whatever they wanted for all these years. So I beg of you, in the 45 days preceding the GuruPoornima Day celebrations, they call themselves Rajarajeswari Pida Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill means students, disciples. And they named it Chaitanya Seva. And every day we can only do so much. A little bit will be taken to some village and food is given. Bicycles are bought for children who have to walk 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers to school. Books are supplied to them, school supplies, all these things are given. So I plead with you, don't let it stop after today. I know, don't expect, at least for the moment, don't expect receipts so that you can give it to Revenue Canada or IRS here. If we do it with official channels, the Sri Lankan corrupted government officials will swallow the money. So at the moment, there will be some directions for you. You can please speak to Darshan Nogendran, show of hand, and Pandi. Can you show these? You get up, please. They need to know who you are. If you send the money to them, the money has been going on since 2020. These monies have gone to Sri Lanka and they have fed so many people. Most of them have lost limbs. Most of them are living in shacks. And if they can, they have built a couple of houses. They have bought, I think, about 80 bicycles for these children. Some of them have nothing, no lamps, nothing. And at the moment, the entire country is parched. And for those of you who do not know, when the war was going on, the Sri Lankan government, in its wisdom, stopped food, batteries, aspirin, medications going to Jaffna or to the east. You can imagine, these are draconian measures. And you think that the Germans were bad? These fellows were worse. But what the youth, the rebels, what they did was, they had studied the dry zone jungle properly. So they took the villagers when the food was not coming and showed them plants that could be used for food. And we survived it. Their food embargo was a total flop. They could not beat us that way. And petrol, that is gasoline, was completely blocked. And these fellows, they're so ingenious. They would start a car with a thimble full of petrol and use kerosene to run the car or cooking oil to run the car. And it was a total flop. They could not do anything. So they got the help of people And it is very strange. Ukraine, today, everybody thinks that poor people, they have got, yes, of course, some other country has invaded them. But at that time, the Sri Lanka government bought two MiG fighters from them. And the pilots in Sri Lanka Air Force had no idea how to fly them. Ukrainian pilots came and bombed the Tamil areas. So poetic justice, now you see the thing has turned. They are getting walloped. They bombed our villages and our schools and our teaching institutions, hospitals, which had red crosses painted on the roof. Indiscriminately they bombed and killed. Now the same thing is happening to them. Arasan andru kolvan, Devan nindru kollum. Anyway, we should not be, even with that, the people in Jaffna, before this disaster struck, they had collected medications and other things and sent them to Ukraine, to those people. So I beg of you, contact Darshan and contact Pandi uncle and make sure that this meager amount that you can give, whatever you can give is welcome. Remember, $1 is now 300 rupees. 300 rupees in Sri Lanka. A coconut is something like 150 rupees or 200 rupees the last time I heard. A kilo of rice is about 600, 700 rupees. How will the poor people live? And when the pandemic hit, the daily laborers, they lost their jobs. How are they supposed to eat and live? So I think doing all these pujas and havans and homams and all that is beautiful. But if you are not moved by the cry of a child who has no milk to drink or no food to eat, all this is useless. So I am of the opinion, please contact these two gentlemen and help them so that this can be continued. Otherwise, it was once a week, correct? Every Friday. Let us do it daily, like we have been doing it for the past 45 days. This is one appeal. The second one, Mahaperiyava, the Kanchipuram pontiff, the saint who lived till he was 100 years old, one of the most dearest things to his heart was the protection of cows that have long exhausted their life of giving milk to anyone. And what they do, even in India, what they do is they sell it to a butcher, and the cows are butchered. And the males, the bulls, because the tractors have taken over everywhere, every sector in agriculture, the moment they know that it is a male, when the cow gives birth, they will turn the fellow out on the street. With the result, I have a friend in Dwaraka, the place of Krishna, where he played, a priest in that temple, in the Dwaraka temple. This is a Goshala that he is looking after. At the moment, there are 450 cows, stray cows, which he has taken, and he has taken care of them. And right as I speak to you, there is an epidemic, and the government has dumped on him 250 more cows, which are kept in a separate facility. And they have told him, you find help. There are 10 veterinarians working with him, free of charge, and to feed the 450 cows. One truckload of grass is 35,000 rupees in India, and it's enough for 3 days for these 450 cows. And the medications, half of it they will give. If you see the shed that you see there, we built it for him. There are it's a 250-foot shed, and Very recently, we have built another one for him with the same length. And water tank and a water reservoir have been found. And there are 1 or 2 people living in that place. Please, Mahaperiyava says, if you are in a situation where you can help, even if in a previous birth you have killed your mother or your guru or your father, matruhatti, pitruhatti, guruhatti, if you feed a cow once so that it can eat its fill, that sin will be washed away from you. So you know that it is something that is of meritorious, it will give you meritorious results. So this is one place. If you can contact Vimalan, he will give you how to contact Hardik. You can either send it through Vimalan or you can send it straight to him, to Hardik. The owner, the person's name is Hardik. The girl that you see there handling 2 or 3 calves is his daughter. The entire family, a son, this girl and his wife are completely involved. They are priests from the Dwaraka temple. And when I went, about 10 years ago, when I went and saw him, he is the one who took me into the temple. Because in Gujarat, in that part, in Dwaraka, nobody speaks English. If you talk to them, they'll speak to you in Gujarati. You will have to reply them in Tamil, and then you resort to sign language. And half the conversation is lost in the signing. Anyway, he appealed. He showed me what he was, at that time he had 2 or 3 cows under him. And the temple gives him a small stipend, which is hardly enough to sustain his family, to feed his family. They spend 2 or 3 nights in the open, in this, the whole family. That is how dedicated they are. So, my appeal to you is, Mahaperiyava, during the course of the last 2 or 3 years, has appeared to me 2 times. Of course, in a dream. And both times he has said, you take care of the cows. You do Gosam Rakshanam, I will build your temple for you. So, let's see. And I have been encouraged after this, and my disciples all over the world are helping, but even now, 2 days ago, yesterday afternoon, there was an urgent appeal because there was no food to give the cows. So I had to make a few telephone calls here and there overseas and plead with some of the disciples to send some money. They have sent him a little bit, but it's not enough. What was the amount that was quoted for a month? 1.5 lakhs of rupees. Now, this is the best time to send it because the Indian rupee now, we fetch, the dollar fetches 85, sometimes 86, sometimes 87 rupees per dollar. So if you then send $100, it'll go there as 8,700 or 8,500 rupees, which he can use to feed the cows. And he has to buy this pandemic or an epidemic that is there among the cows. It is one place which I found very strange. Any city you go in India, you will find dogs. There are many dogs on the road. In Dwaraka, there are few dogs, many cows. Every street you go, there are stray cows. And because they are unable to feed themselves, they eat plastic. They eat plastic. The shopping bags are all over the place and they eat it and they become thin. Do you have any other slides of the Goshala? No. So, contact Vimalan. If you want to send anything direct, he can give you his direct address. His name is Hardik Vayeda Patel. Hardik Vayeda Patel. That's the guy who is taking care of the things. And once in a way he will ask for money. What can I do? I can't, I don't own a bank for me to send the money to him. So we scrape a few dollars here and there and keep him going. It has been going on for the past, as far as I am concerned, for the past 10 years. Now, we can no longer sustain it like that because the number of cows have now grown to 450. And as I speak to you, maybe another 50 or 60 have been added. And in addition, he has been given 250 cows that are infected with a particular skin disease. And it's horrible. Although they are being treated, for each cow, you have to give 15 injections within 5 days. And half the injections, the municipality of Dwaraka will give it to him. The others you have to buy. So, please help. Thank you very much. This is what I want to say for this GuruPoornima. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayya, for your words. Your plea for all of us to participate in the initiatives that these wonderful people have started and continue to do has touched our heart, and we will all do our part to the best of our ability. Now, I'd like to introduce Vimlanana. As you all know, he has been heading up our initiative for the Rajagopuram Granite Temple project. And I want to hand over the mic so that he can give us an update.
Sri GuruPoornima, everyone. Hope everybody can hear me well. So I have been requested to share two information, as Priyanka mentioned, about the Rajagopuram update, plus one more big announcement. So please bear with me. I will try my best to keep it within the time. So Rajagopuram project, as many of you know, due to COVID, we had some certain delays and other matters too. So just want to give everyone a kind of a quick update what's happening in India, at the same time what's happening here. So last year, we kind of, able to go through the construction and able to prepare the land. As you all saw, a lot of construction happened, and that's one of the requests that city made, that before we build or dig anything, we have to prepare the land in such a way, if there's any flood or water or rain, that neighbors doesn't get flooded. So that's the reason you will see there is a little higher ground where the temple is going to be, and around that there are little kind of a pond they built it. Whenever the water comes, they will go down into it, then slowly go to the back of the creek there. So that was the first attempt after the Bhumi Puja we were able to achieve. Then after that we were working on many, like a mechanical construction drawing. That took quite a bit of time, because why the engineers here, the civil engineers and mechanical engineers here, have to really coordinate with Indian stabadis, especially with the weight and with the COVID and all, it took time. Now I believe with Guru's blessings and Devi's blessing, we are probably around 95% completed, and we are in the process of almost getting the bits for the foundation. So that's a very good news. It's going to be happening very soon. Yes, so within the next 2 weeks, we should have, who are the bidders, what the amount they are bidding, so we should be able to confirm. Then depending on their schedule, the digging will start. So that's what we are hoping and praying to the Mother. Couple of things also happened during this construction, because we also want to make sure that Ayya's vision is fulfilled as early as possible. Earlier we did mention the phase 1 is only Ganapati, but then after we started working on these drawings, we also made it so that you can see there in the screen, that's the entire temple. So where the yellow line is kind of, the rectangle line kind of points out the phase 1. And within that rectangle, you will see 2 sannidhis. Let's go to the next slide and you will see that nicely. So you can see that, so that rectangle yellow line is now zoomed up, and you can see side by side, Ganapati and Subramanya going to be there. So that's kind of a little achievement we were able to make, that we can build both together. So in India, the Ganapati Sannidhi is 95% done. We recently had a visit, we were able to inspect, it is done. There's also a small change in the Ganapati Sannidhi, like a Ganapati Vigraham. Earlier, Ayya and Stabati decided we are going to go for a Shakti Ganapati. After several discussion and think through, we are going to keep the exact same Ganapati which we are praying right now in the sanctum. So he's not going away. That's another thing. Yeah. So hopefully the Indian shipment should start probably within next 1 or 2 months. Once that is come, you will see, at least it will be landing. It might take a month or two to arrive here. You all know the logistic problem nowadays with the shippings and all. So hopefully some miracle should happen. At the same time, we have also signed the contract to build the Subramaniya Sannidhi, which is very identical, which is on the other side. That's also, the construction is started, we have paid the advance, we had signed the contract, so that's also happening. It might take another 6 months to finish building, then shipping and stuff like that, but we are trying our best to get that moving as much also. So these are some of the kind of a mechanical, like actual elevation drawing, I should say, that kind of going to show you, if you are in a west, east, north, south, how the temple will look, even for the phase 1. So that's what you're seeing. And all these drawings are available, and we will be updating the website very shortly. And there's going to be some more pictures we are going to show. These are the works that have been completed in India. So these are the 2 pillars that sits front of the Ganapati Sannidhis. So you can see how the workmanships are done. Let's go to the next slides. So this is the Ganapati Sannidhi, and the top part, Vimanam, next go to the next one, and this is the actual structure around it, and different angles are depicted there. Let's go more further. So these are the Shodasa Ganapatis in the whole Sannidhi, just around the 3 pillars, and some of them might be even in the front. 16 Ganapatis are imposed. So these are separately they have carved them, and it's going to be mounted around it. So those are also around 9 of them are complete, and few more to go. So once that is complete, only the shipment will be done. So anything else in the picture? Okay. So as I mentioned again, the Subramaniya Sannidhi, we have signed the contract. It's called Sri Subramaniya Swami Sannidhi, phase 1, part of the phase 1. And you can see how that Vigraham going to be looking, just to give you an idea. Anything else, Ayya, you want to mention about the Ganapati temple?
Pre-pandemic, cost of a container was $3,000, US dollars, 3,000. And at that time, we thought that was outrageous. Post-pandemic, a container costs $14,500. That is current. $14,500. So you can imagine it's going to inflate the cost of the temple. We are waiting because we have seen some signs that the rates are coming down. One particular country, I'm told China, has hoarded most of the containers, and they are slowly releasing it in little bits at a time, so now the prices have slowly started to move down, but I don't know whether they will come to anywhere, at least, even if it is 5,000, it is better than paying 14,500 per container. So these are some of the problems that we are going to be facing. And in whichever way you look at it, the pillars that you saw being worked on, each one has to be properly seated in the new building. And with all the technology that these guys have, if you can see the one on the right-hand side, you will see sketches done on that. That has not been fully carved yet. Because I told the Stabadi, I don't want plain columns. Our temple is going to stand for 1,000 years, and it should be like a piece of jewelry that you buy at GR Thangamali, not in a flea market. So it's going to be a little bit of difficult because he told me, when I told him I want a proper columns done, he said it's going to cost you a little more. I said, did I talk to you about the cost at all? We want this and you make it. So he's making it now. That pillar is only about 50% done in this. All the carvings you will see once it is completed, it will be out of this world. There will be 28 such columns in the temple. Each one will probably tell a story. Okay, so the transportation is our biggest problem right now. Whereas you could send 4 containers, now we can only send 1 container for that much money. Okay? Anybody has any questions? You can ask.
Just to add to Aya's point, the inflation also gone up. So the general construction also gone up by at least 15 to 20%, even here. You know. So these are the 3D modeled. We found a person in India we were able to render. And I'm sure those who came for a last July festival has seen this model. Maybe that's in turn around that side too. Phase 1. This only depict the phase 1. Just to give you an idea. So as all of you know, Ganapati and Subramanyama, both. You can see the both window kind of represent each type of idea. Southern, yeah, perfect. So as you know, this is your project, this is your home, Aya's vision. So we really need lots of help. As part of that, Amma has embarked on a little kind of a seva. I'm sure all of you have heard this many times. So this is, she has kind of came up with 2 or 3 actually spices. One is the sambar podi, rasa podi, and curry powder. So this is her, way to support. As you can see, our own Amma is doing this. So we all should encourage, at least by buying that and sharing that to others, and also come up with the similar ideas. And recently, you might also know, she has also come up with her own cookbook. So it was a prasadam during the July festival. Yeah. So now we have lots of copies available in the bookstore. So if you please make sure you get a copy and share it with your friends and families too. And you have any other ideas for the fundraising and how you can support the Granite Temple, again, please contact Darshan and Charu Amma. They are the fundraising committee. So they'll be really helpful because we need to embark on this project soon and finish it soon. This is Aya's one of the biggest vision we all should work as. Please.
Before I forget, it slipped my mind. The people of Tamil Nadu, they knew what the Lankans were going through. No gas, no oil, no electricity. Even if you have money, tons of money in the bank, you cannot do anything. And why I was hesitant about telling you, why I warned you about sending it through official channels, 2 or 3 cases where people have had gold ornaments locked up in bank walls, in little storage cabinets, rooms, or storage boxes. When they went, some of them went to claim it back because of a marriage or something like that. Things were missing. And this is Bank of Ceylon, supposed to be the official bank of the government. So what those fellows are doing, it's completely lawless. There's no law and order in that country. Every fellow from top to bottom is a thug and a thief. So even though we want to help, we cannot do it through official channels because that money will be taken by somebody else. He has a bloated army of 250,000 soldiers and they have to be kept employed. They are selling vegetables, growing vegetables, running supermarkets. So many things the military is doing. At the same time, In the north and east, they are watching the population. If there's one slight hint of something happening, that person will disappear. That person or persons will disappear, never to be seen again. And if you go and ask the official channels, they will say, we never took them. We have no idea where they are. So you know what we are facing. The people of Tamil Nadu, in spite of knowing all this, they collected, I think, 6 truckloads of stuff for Sri Lanka and sent it at the time when they were really suffering without anything. And the Sri Lankan government did not acknowledge that it came from Tamil Nadu. All the other states that had said, that had sent aid, they said this came from Punjab, this came from Bengal. When it came from Tamil Nadu, shameless fellows did not want to even acknowledge what was received. That's the type of government and the governance that we are facing back home. So please be aware, okay? Please try and help as much as you can. You will be helping some little child to go to bed with a full tummy. Okay? Thank you.
So that was the kind of a Granite Temple updates. We have one more very, very, very important updates. That's what we have all our members here. So this is very auspicious. We all have been waiting for. This is going to be like a big family event. Next year, as all of you know, Ayya is turning 80. He is Sada Abhishekam. So I know he is very hesitant. We have been talking to many people. Only yesterday, we were able to kind of talk to him and convince and kind of able to get some idea what we should do. And we all, as a one family, we all should come as a one family. I think this is the time we should demonstrate what we learned from him, his gratitude, all the thing we should show through this event. And Ayya has kind of agreed to do a Adhirudram again next year. Yep. Yeah. So it's going to be almost 11 days event, but the structure will be very different. As I mentioned, it's only got approved yesterday. So a lot of logistics, a lot of things need to be coming. You all going to be part of it. So please, this is your home. This is your guru. We have to work together. Let's make this happen and let's make him happy. It's coming here. So more detail will come. So at least for now, Ramesh Narayanaya, today you saw him. He came forward immediately and said, you know, he's going to support this, and I'm sure all of you are going to be part of this and support this. Please, everybody, we are going to. So in the timeline, so Ayya's Nakshatram next year is coming on July 28th. That's the Ekadasi day, Anuradha Nakshatram. So it's again a Friday. So these 3 things kind of assure you what an auspicious day that is. And we said 11 days because at least after the Adhirudram, like last year, we can have some cultural, musical program to enjoy the rest of it, but even during the week. So all these details we have to come. Again, we are looking for ideas, suggestions, feedback. Please, everyone, you all are part of it. So that's number 1. At the same time, GRD, again, Ramesh Naraja, he has started an initiation. He wants to complete at least 1,000 Sri Chakra pujas on again Ayya's Nakshatram, Anuradha, every month, as much as possible, at least 1,000. He's also opened his hand and welcome all of us. So we are going to come up with some kind of a process. Again, Anuradha Nakshatram, if you are able to do Sri Chakra Puja, thinking Ayya at your home, we are going to again take that as a count and it will be accumulated. Last one was done Sunday, and today he want to kind of do a Sangalpan. That's the reason he did one today morning in the sanctum. Some of you seen it. First one, yeah. 42 are done, yeah. So please, this is again a great way for you to learn Sri Chakra Puja in case if you don't know. There are many people who can do it, learn from them, and be part of this. These are unique opportunities we will never, never, never get back. So that's 2 things. So we're trying to do like few things to commemorate and celebrate this event. Yeah, third one. we are also, again, for Anuradha Nakshatram, like, as a monthly service, trying to do some seva in the temple for the local shelters and even outside. We had to, again, opening up, looking for opportunities. So that's going to be the other thing, initiation we are trying to do. And any other ideas we can think of, come together, be a family, we can do it. Let's do it. Anything else I missed, Uncle? So thank you so much, everyone. Sorry we took a little long. So now I will ask Uncle to do the thank you. Just before that, right after this, we are going to allow you to do the namaskaram. Couple of humble requests. Come as a family, make it quick. Please, please, please do not touch their feet. Keep a 1 foot space and do a quick namaskaram, then we all can have a prasadam soon. Okay, thank you. I will give it to Uncle for a thank you, please.
Thanks, Vimalan.
Leave the water. Sorry. So those who done tarpanam, make a quick announcement. Any perishable, please pick it up, like grapes, fruits, or flowers. That's yours. Other patram, just leave it there. Our volunteers will quickly pick it up, so this way we can make it faster. Okay? But padukas you can take home. That's yours. But we need lots of help washing them. If you can come back later to the prep room and help us with washing, they'll be really appreciated. That's a Guru Seva also. Please.
Sri GuruPoornima. First of all, we have to thank all of us. All of us have to thank Ayya and Amma, our Guru. A big applause. Without Ayya and Amma, we are talking about family here. We are not here. We have to work as a family, and also we are part of the Guru Parambara. So we all have to work together. This way, Ayya's vision probably will fulfill. So thank you all for that coming today. And also, I'd like to thank all the volunteers that they are helping